Its basis is seen in the passages that speak about the church's authority to forgive sins, such as, whoever sins you forgive, they are forgiven. Whoever sins you retain, they are retained. But guess what? This passage, along with its corollary passages, are judged by most biblical scholars to be highly suspect. In fact, the Jesus Seminar rates these passages as something that Jesus never said. But rather they are passages that reflect a later tradition of the evangelists, who take to themselves the power to forgive sins. It gave them a tool. It gave them a way of power and authority over others. And I suggest to you that in spite of this tradition within the church, that the church has abused this whole idea of confession and forgiveness, and has abused its power over others. I would suggest to you that we would be better off reflecting on Jesus' words about forgiveness, such as those that we hear in this encounter with Peter. Peter came and said to him, "Lord, if another member of the church sins against me, how often should I forgive him? As many as 7 times?" Jesus said to him, "Not 7 times, but I tell you, 70 times 7. Or in this passage, when the Pharisees challenged Jesus' authority to forgive sins, they said to him, "Why does this fellow speak in this way? It is blasphemy. Who can forgive sins but God alone?" And at once Jesus perceived in his spirit that they were discussing these questions among themselves. And he said to them, "Why do you raise such questions in your heart? Which is easier to say to the paralytic, 'Your sins are forgiven'? Or to say, 'Stand up, take up your mat, and walk'? But so that you know that the human one has authority on earth to forgive sins," Jesus said to the paralytic, "Take up your bed and walk." Now don't get me wrong. It's not that forgiveness of sins is unimportant. It is important. But here's my point. It's taken care of. God loves us. God forgives sins of everybody. He's not up there keeping a scorecard of whether you did this right and that wrong and this right. God loves us just as we are. And God has accepted us. Our sins are forgiven. And God does so because God loves us. Not because Jesus was executed on a cross, but because we are loved. So get on with it. Accept the fact that we, like Peter, are human beings. That we, like Peter, are looking for and longing for salvation. That we, like Peter, see that salvation is embodied in Jesus the Christ. That we, like Peter, would like to follow Jesus. Like Peter, even profess our faith in Jesus and promise that though the whole world might forsake him, we would never do so. And then we, like Peter, no matter how hard we try or how often we profess our faith, when confronted with the cost of discipleship, we often fall and stumble. We often deny. We often run scared. We often make the wrong choice. And here's Jesus saying, "So you're human. Get over it. Get up and get on with the business of feeding my sheep." Jesus' response to our failing to be perfect? He looks at us and says, duh. What else is new? Get over it. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and then get on with the business of feeding my sheep. That's the true business of the church. And that's what we should be all about. It's not about the power of the office of the keys to forgive or retain sins. It is about the office of servanthood, to live out our calling to follow the Holy Christ. I would suggest to you that the church has the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Two other quick things to consider. One involves the story of Jesus healing the blind man in Bethsaida. This is an interesting story because the healing doesn't take right away. It says they came to Bethsaida and some people brought a blind man to him and begged him to touch him. And he took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the village. And when he put saliva on his eyes and laid his hands on him, he said, "Can you see anything?" And the man looked up and said, "Yeah." He says, "I can see people. But they look like trees walking." And so Jesus laid his hands on his eyes a second time. And he looked intently and his sight was restored and he saw everything clearly. It's interesting that some scholars believe that this is a story about Peter, who fails to get it the first time around. The point is not that Jesus got it wrong the first time around, but that Peter did, as do most of us. And my second and closing point in this message is found in the message of Mary Magdalene at the tomb of Jesus on Easter morning from Mark's Gospel. As Mary enters the tomb and sees the young man clothed in white, he has a message for her. Do not be alarmed. You are seeking Jesus of Nazareth who was crucified. He has been raised. He's not here. Look, there is the place that they laid him. And then she's given a commission. Go tell his disciples and Peter that he is going ahead of you to Galilee. And there you will see him as he told you. What's the point of all this? Well, I'll tell you what I think the point is that given that all that we know about Peter, and given how much Peter represents every would-be disciple, including ourselves, I would suggest to you that there is no greater gospel than this. Go tell his disciples and Peter that he is going ahead of you to Galilee. You see, it's that "and Peter" that underscores the reconciling love of God that knows no limit. God loves you. And God loves me. And God loves Peter. And Jesus says, deal with it. Here is the unvarnished gospel. God loves you. In spite of all your failures, all your faults, all your hesitancy, all your fears, God loves you. Accept it. And then get on with the business of ministry. For God is calling you and me to feed his sheep.